power in numbers. We just know as startups how important it is, mentorship, being part of a broader network for insights, for market access, for funding, and just that creativity, and we've seen it so much since, I think one of the first events was a poker tournament, Notman House. Immediately had our female ambassadors saying, we're not into poker. So the next thing was a games night at Google. Out of the Google Games Night, which turned out to be, rather than just probably 20, 30 people at the poker, there was like 100, 120 people. And out of that, Hugo came up with the idea, why don't we do an AI conference? So you just see there's that magic when people get together, that they actually get exposed to what the cause is. Always have some agency representatives actually talking about what's going on in their particular neighborhood, what are the challenges they're facing. Something makes it much more tangible that in your own neck of the woods, oh my gosh, this is just a kilometer away. There's quite a different challenges of living and integration and exclusion. They're just coming, all kinds of crazy things. But the community is adding to the creativity and spreading the word, because how are we actually going to move the needle here? As you said, for Centraide, there's a bit of a distribution and a reach challenge. But if we've got more grassroots awareness, of that 20-person company that within a year is a 100-person company, and then 3 years later, we're growing into what Centraide can, their business model and how their process works. So that's a huge part of community.
Yeah, I think you've both seen those stories, right? You mentioned Hopper, Radiant 6, how many are real? Also, there's just so many of these great success stories of companies that start, the canonical 2-3 person garage startup that becomes hundreds, thousands of people, right, across the years. So it's important for at the early stages of these founders and their journeys to be able to be thinking about also giving back, right? Maybe Sophie, what do you see? We talk about corporate social responsibility and a very corporate-y thing that only big companies can afford. Why should small companies be thinking about it?
Yeah, I think, and some are, and I think it's the beauty of what Alan started with TechAide. I think it's easier for a small company to organize a soccer team, go play, and then give some money through that. But Centraide makes it quite easy, actually, if you want to, organize your employees so they can have the deduction on their pay. It's not complicated. It's more the reach. And that's why I think as a community, if we can all say, okay, let's do this and attack it, it's a question of knowing the people and making sure they take the time. You're a startup, you have 50 employees, you're busy, you're fundraising, you're trying to sell, you have so many things you want to put in place, you're trying to hire and so on and so forth. And you probably think it makes a good sense to give back, but where is it in your list of priority? So I think a lot of people we've cold called a lot of companies. Obviously, we go to the ones we know it's easier. And a lot of them, nobody says, no way, I don't want to give back. They all say, yeah, it makes sense, but I'm really busy and I don't have the people to do it. Because usually it would be somebody in finance or in HR that will take this process, right? You need at least to inform the employees, you need to answer questions. So you need somebody in your shop that will take this project on and lead it. The companies, and I know Google has been amazing. This year, Hopper started participating. We've got BuzzBud that, was giving a lot. I'm not naming all of them, but, Moment Factory, a lot of them are giving, but usually it comes down to a champion in the company that decides, I'm going to do this. It's not a lot of time, and it can be actually your way of giving back being extra time that you do outside of your working hours, and you organize that. If you find that champion, everybody's behind the cause, they want to give. And I have 3 daughters, and 2 of them work in the tech industry, and they're, young and so on. So they know I'm working on this, and both of them just got engaged really rapidly because they thought, why? Yes, it makes sense. We need to give back. So it's not a question of people don't want to give back. It's just, getting together, making sure we can talk to everybody we know, and finding those champions that are willing to organize it and put it forward.
As always, thanks for listening, and don't forget to subscribe. If you want to learn more, check out thepnr.com.